Coming to you live from Angkasa Puri, I'm Shuhaida Arifin and this is News at 10. Making the headlines tonight. A government working to bring home job scam victims stranded abroad. Seven arrested as police seize 263 kilograms of shabu. The government would ensure that Malaysians who have fallen victim to job offer fraud syndicates in several countries are brought home safely. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Semasa said efforts are being made through all channels to ensure the safety of all victims. The Premier added the government views the plight of Malaysians stranded in Laos, Myanmar, Thailand and Cambodia as a serious matter. At the same time, he advised Malaysians to be more aware and careful with lucrative offers to work abroad. He said the legitimacy of the offer must be verified through Foreign Ministry to avoid from becoming the victim of a job fraud syndicate. Datuk Seri Sabri was commenting on the issue raised by the Malaysian Community Crime Care MCCC and Malaysia International Humanitarian Organisation MHO. The government will continue to put education as its main agenda by emphasising co-curricular development, innovation and academic achievement. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Sabri said the government also viewed seriously the number of students in the field of science, technology, engineering and mathematics STEM to ensure that the country is ready to face the Industrial Revolution 4.0.
Bagi memupuk minat pelajar, Petronas telah menjadi penyokong kuat kepada usaha kerajaan memperkasa bidang sains, teknologi dan inovasi ataupun STI sebagai pemboleh daya kepada pemantapan sosio-ekonomi negara. Malah, syarikat gergasi petroleum negara ini juga telah melaksanakan pelbagai inisiatif dan program bagi memupuk minat pelajar dalam bidang sains, teknologi, kejuruteraan dan matematik bermula dari sekolah rendah.
The Premier added the people should ensure that the country does not lag behind in STEM to ensure it remains sustainable and competitive globally. On another news, Datuk Seri Sabri informed that Petronas is increasing two categories of allowances for 2,267 students under its sponsorship with immediate effect. The first category involved an increase in the allowance for books and study materials as well as induction allowance.
Pertama, kenaikan allowance buku dan peralatan belajar daripada RM1,000 kepada RM1,500 untuk pelajar di Malaysia dan tambahan RM500 untuk pelajar di luar negara. Yang kedua, pelajar yang baru menerima penajaan PESP allowance induksi onboarding allowance akan dinaikkan daripada RM4,500 kepada RM5,000. Kenaikan kedua-dua allowance ini mengambil kira kos sara hidup yang semakin tinggi dan bantuan ini diharap dapat meringankan beban pelajar dan ibu bapa, seterusnya memudahkan proses pembelajaran pelajar.
He said this at the 2022 PESP Award presentation ceremony at the Kuala Lumpur Convention Centre today. This year, a total of 600 students, which is the highest so far, were offered to study under the PESP program involving sponsorship amounting to over RM340 million. The federal government is committed to achieving comprehensive internet access throughout Sarawak by 2024. Communications and Multimedia Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa said the target could be achieved through the implementation of Phase 2 of the National Digital Network Plan Jendela.
Dan kita juga akan sedang berunding untuk meningkatkan penggunaan satelit di Sarawak kerana terdapat lebih kurang 600 lagi lokasi yang telah dikenal pasti untuk kita menggunakan teknologi satelit. Ini sebagai pilihan terakhir walaupun agak mahal dan ini perlu dilakukan kerana dasar kita ialah di akhir jendela 2 kita mahukan ke semua kawasan berpenduduk termasuk di kawasan terpencil di pendalaman juga harus mempunyai ketersambungan perkhidmatan jalur lebar.
He added it will take more than 5 years to provide internet service through fibre optic, hence why the process would be expedited by using satellite technology under Jendela Phase 2. Tan Sri Anwar said the federal government was willing to bear the high costs of providing internet access using satellite technology, and implementation for the second phase of Jendela is expected to begin in 2023. Selected district producers, wholesalers and retailers nationwide are allowed to keep additional stock of 30% of the permitted storage limit in preparation for disasters and emergencies. Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs KPD and HEP Deputy Minister Datuk Rosul Wahid said the initiative is to ensure a sufficient supply of daily necessities and food when the country faces a flood disaster, which is expected to be more difficult this time.
Kita membuat pemantauan rapi di seluruh negara kerana kita mendapat makluman daripada meteorologi bahawa banjir kali ini dikatakan mungkin yang lebih teruk daripada yang lepas-lepas. So kita mengambil tindakan proaktif dengan yang pertama kita pergi cek kedai-kedai pemborong di seluruh negara. Kita ada kedai-kedai pemborong kita pasti di seluruh negara dan kita benarkan mereka ini menyimpan stok 30% lebih daripada biasa.
Speaking to reporters after officiating the Love Local program in Kota Damansara today, Datuk Rosul said the effort would be carried out throughout the country, but the focus will be on locations where floods often occur, such as the East Coast and areas at risk of flooding. He said areas that are not affected will also be monitored because right now it is difficult to predict the weather. In the past, in the months of November and December, Datuk Rosul said only Terengganu and Kelantan were flooded, but now other states are also flooded. The police arrested a man and seized 263.88 kilograms of shabu worth about 8.53 million ringgit in a raid at an apartment in Segambut last Saturday. Kuala Lumpur Deputy Police Chief Datuk Yahya Osman said 6 individuals aged 24 to 47 years old were arrested in 3 subsequent raids conducted in Pulau Pinang, Perak and Selangor. All of them were a part of drug syndicate which was masterminded by a local and is believed to have been active since last July.
Hasil daripada 7 tangkapan kepada suspek yang kita tangkap ini, 4 daripadanya mempunyai rekod lampau dalam penglibatan jenayah dan dadah, dan yang lain kita tidak ada rekod jenayah. Dan daripada 7 orang yang kita tangkap ini, 5 positif dadah dan 2 negatif.
The seized drugs, which were found in 226 packages, were believed obtained from the north of the peninsula before being sent to the capital for distribution. The police also seized 4 vehicles of various brands, jewelries and watches amounting to 424,750 ringgit. The suspects are currently being remanded for 7 days until this Saturday for investigation under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. Human skeletal remains, clothes and the wreckage of an excavator were found today at the location where 2 quarry workers were feared buried in an incident last March at Keramat Pulai, Jalan Simpang Pulai, Cameron Highlands. Perak Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Yusri Hassan Basri said such efforts were still ongoing at the scene of the incident. According to Datuk Muhammad Yusri, the wreckage was found by a search and rescue team that also involved the Department of Minerals and Geosciences at 11:45 a.m. today, while the skeletal remains and clothes were found about half an hour later. He added that police have yet to determine to whom they belong. In the 8th March incident, 2 quarry workers who were believed to have been trapped under rock debris were identified as Itam Lasoh 43 and Kyo Liu Siu Sun 49. In April, former Perak Police Chief Datuk Mio Farid Al-Atrash Wahid said the investigation into the case was classified as sudden death, even though the 2 victims had not yet been found. Still to come, sturdy trade with almost 50% hike reported. Stay tuned. Malaysia's trade remained steady in August 2022, with exports jumping 48.2% to 141.33 billion ringgit, the 13th successive month of double-digit growth. The Ministry of International Trade and Industry MITI said Malaysia's trade surplus stood at 16.92 billion ringgit as imports surged 67.6% to 124.41 billion. The trade surplus stood at 16.92 billion as imports surged 67.6% to 124.41 billion ringgit. Total trade rallied 56.7% to 265.74 billion ringgit compared to August 2021. The export expansion was attributed to higher shipments of electrical and electronic products, petroleum products, palm oil and palm oil-based agriculture products, liquefied natural gas (LNG), as well as optical and scientific equipment. Exports to major trading partners, notably ASEAN, China, the United States, US, the European Union, EU and Japan, also recorded double-digit growth. For January to August 2022, Malaysia's exports value surpassed 1 trillion ringgit, the shortest period to reach this milestone, expanding by 30.3% to 1.014 trillion. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz warns that the transition to the green agenda needs to be done gradually, as rapid changes can potentially bring negative spillover effects such as job losses. He said as many companies strive to achieve their green agenda, the transition somewhat poses a threat to the businesses and livelihoods, particularly in ASEAN countries. Citing an International Labour Organization report, he said Southeast Asia could potentially lose around 500,000 jobs in fossil fuels by 2050, but it could gain around 5 million jobs mainly in the renewable energy RE sector.
It is critical to conduct social dialogue among governments, workers and employers, organisations at all levels of policy development in order to ensure that we look at gender, look at social protection, green recovery, skills development, and this can be addressed, for example, through reskilling workers and reduce the risk of a stranded workforce as we shift to a greener economy.
Therefore, Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul said to mitigate the negative impact of the phasing out of coal and hydrocarbons, governments must implement a just transition policy for the affected population. Aggressive measures need to be taken to coordinate the management of the bamboo industry for the commercialisation, promotion and development of the sector. Plantation and Commodity Industry Minister Datuk Zuraida Kamaruddin said this is necessary as the industry is capable of boosting the people's incomes as well as contributing to the nation's economy. She said in 2021, Malaysia's export of bamboo products had increased by 1.6% to 8.41 million ringgit from 8.28 million ringgit in 2020, while imports stood at 89.23 million ringgit.
Kerana dunia sekarang dah sedap, dah mula bercakap dan sudah mula menggunakan produk-produk daripada bambu. Sampai membuat bangunan pun daripada bambu. So baju dan sebagainya. Jadi saya pun surprise bila saya pergi ke luar negara, negara Eropah, negara Western countries, dia dah start cakap pasal barang-barang dari buluh, sedangkan mereka tak ada buluh. So jadi maknanya potential buluh ni adalah sangat bagus untuk masa depan ekonomi negara.
Speaking to reporters after launching the World Bamboo Day Malaysia 2022 at the Forest Research Institute of Malaysia today, she noted that the nation's exports of bamboo products are much lower compared to other countries. She also said that Malaysia is still very much dependent on its imports of bamboo products from China, Indonesia and Vietnam, despite the local bamboo industry having great development potential. Tabung Haji continues to record historic highs with total deposits reaching 88.08 billion ringgit as of 31st July, reflecting the growing confidence of Muslims in the country's Hajj management institution. According to Minister and Prime Minister's Department of Religious Affairs, Dato' Idris Ahmad, this is the highest amount in the history of Tabung Haji since 59 years of establishment. He said TH is also committed to improving its services as well as increasing its Tijari online platform capabilities to ensure that the institution could cater to all Muslims in Malaysia.
Dan kita pun memang akan agresif lagi sebenarnya untuk nak pastikan supaya masyarakat umat Islam di Malaysia ini memberikan sokongan dan dokongan kepada tabung haji, salah satu daripada institusi yang awal sebenarnya dari segi instrumen ekonomi Islam di Malaysia ni ialah tabung haji, yang kita akan melaksanakan amanah dengan baik. Dengan sebab itu saya menekankan sangat-sangat kepada pihak pengurusan tabung haji supaya kita kekalkan tentang momentum kepercayaan masyarakat kepada kita.
Dato' Idris said this at the Ministry's monthly assembly in Putrajaya today. Stronger action needed in tackling Myanmar crisis than more in the foreign segment. Malaysia reiterated its call for ASEAN to better engage with Myanmar's major stakeholders, namely the National Unity Government NUG, elected by the people of Myanmar prior to the coup, and the National Unity Consultative Council NUCC in dealing with the mounting crisis in the country. Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Abdullah said it is vital for the regional bloc to include both the major stakeholders of Myanmar in an inclusive and fair negotiation. He also said that ASEAN should work on a framework that has a clear end game, which includes bringing back the democracy in Myanmar. Touching on a 5-point consensus, 5 PCs, Dato' Seri Saifuddin added there's an urgent need to relook at the implementation as the junta military showed no comment to date.
Misalnya, adakah 5-point konsensus itu berkesan? Kalau tidak berkesan, mungkinkah ia boleh dibaiki? Kalau tak boleh dibaiki, perlukah ia diganti? Dan kalau nak diganti dengan apa? Kita tak boleh tunggu hanya nak bincang ini semasa sidang kemuncak ASEAN. Sebab kalau itu berlaku, lepas itu keputusannya ialah mengarahkan ASEAN Secretariat dan Menteri Luar untuk mencari jalan. Setahun lagi lah, ramai lagi lah yang akan mati.
The foreign minister said this at a press conference held at the Malaysian Permanent Mission to the United Nations in New York today. Meanwhile, the United Nations Children Fund UNICEF said at least 11 school children died in an airstrike and firing on a Myanmar village, an attack the country's junta said targeted rebels hiding in the area. The Sagaing region in the country's northwest has seen some of the fiercest fighting, and amid clashes between anti-coup fighters and the military, entire villages have been burned down. The UN's Children's Agency UNICEF condemned Friday's incident in Depayin Township in Sagaing. In a statement issued today, the agency said at least 11 children died in an airstrike and indiscriminate fire in civilian areas on 16 September. It said schools must be safe and never targeted. At least 15 children from the same school are still missing, UNICEF said, calling for their immediate safe release. Video footage obtained from a local community group shows a classroom with blood on the floor, damage to the roof, and a mother crying over her son's dead body. The junta confirmed they had sent troops in helicopters to the village after receiving a tip-off that fighters from the Kachin Independence Army, an ethnic rebel group, and from a local anti-coup militia were moving weapons in the area. Brothers of Italy leader Giorgia Meloni, 45, is widely expected to become Italy's first female prime minister, as polls consistently show that a rightist coalition is on course for a clear victory in the 25th September snap election. The coalition is led by Meloni's party and also involves Matteo Salvini's League Party and Silvio Berlusconi Forza Italia. The former far-right activist from Rome has energized her party, which is set to see its share of the view leap to around 25% from only 4% at the last election in 2018. Her support for NATO and Western sanctions against Russia has helped to ease foreign concerns about her suitability for the post of Prime Minister. Meloni won her first local election at 21 and became Italy's youngest ever minister when, at the age of 31, she was given the youth portfolio in Berlusconi's 2008 government. In her biggest political gamble, Meloni and a contingent of veterans left Berlusconi in 2012 and co-founded Brothers of Italy, named after the opening lines of the national anthem. Her party has seen a surge in its support after its remain outside of outgoing Prime Minister Mario Draghi's government. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. local time on 25th September. No shortcut to glory, athletes told to avoid doping. Stay with us. Youth and Sports Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Faizal Azumu has warned all athletes, especially weightlifters, not to take shortcuts by using banned substances in a bid to achieve success. The minister, who was disappointed that 3 Malaysia Games Sukma 2022 weightlifters from 2 states failed their pre-championship doping test, said the problem could affect the sport from being listed as a core sport after it was previously dropped due to doping issues.
Dan beliau tentunya mahu satu tindakan yang amat tegas dibuat tentang perkara ini. Dan namun pada waktu sekarang ini satu keputusan telah dibuat. Saya dengar dapat satu perbincangan telah dibuat di kalangan ketua-ketua kontingen daripada semua negeri. Dan pihak penganjur iaitu MSN terpaksa membuat satu keputusan mengikut kepentingan ramai dan mengikut peraturan yang ada. Jadi itulah yang telah dibuat dan saya berharap pihak PABM akan meneruskan kerjasama dengan pihak penganjur dari segi bantuan teknikal dan sebagainya. Namun saya percaya akhirnya kepentingan atlet-atlet yang telah membuat persiapan secara bersungguh-sungguh akan dapat kita pertahankan dan mereka yang tidak bersalah terus akan dapat mengambil bahagian.
Yesterday, the Malaysian Weightlifting Federation (MWF) announced their withdrawal from conducting the weightlifting event at the 20th edition of the Games following a decision made by the governing body over doping-related offences after 3 Sukma lifters tested positive during tests conducted by the Malaysian Anti-Doping Agency (ADAMAS). According to the MWF, they had earlier made a decision that if any athlete from the state association tested positive for doping, then the athlete concerned as well as others in the state association would be suspended from participating in the 20th Sukma. National squash ace Chan Yi-wen ended Kedah's 8-year domination in women's singles when she defeated Ira Azman 11-3, 8-11, 3-11, 11-5, 11-4 in the final at the 20th Malaysia Games Sukma today. The victory was sweeter as it allowed the Federal Territories player to avenge her loss to Ira's sister Aifa Azman in the 2018 edition in Perak. In the showdown at the National Squash Centre in Jalan Duta this morning, the 23-year-old Yi-wen had to fight tooth and nail to overcome Ira for the gold medal. The second-seeded Yi-wen said she was pleased to have contributed a gold medal to the FT contingent despite not feeling well during the match. Yuan said the victory was just the tonic she needed to go for gold in the Asian Team Squash Championships 2022 in South Korea next month. Kedah have dominated the women's single event in the past 8 years, with S. Sivasanggari winning the 2014 Perlis, 2016 Sarawak editions and Aifa triumphing in the 2018 Perak edition. Meanwhile, Sabah's Lai Wen Lee settled for bronze today after her opponent Nur Aina Amani Apandi of Federal Territories pulled out due to injury. Kedah Ong Sai Hung bagged the men's single golden medal after ousting teammate Muhammad Hafiz Zafri Abdul Harif 11-7, 11-5, 5-11, 11-6, while Negeri Sembilan's J. Sanjay took bronze with a hard-fought 11-7, 15-13, 5-11, 12-14, 12-10 win over teammate P. Darren Rahul. Sabah divers Gabriel Gilbert Daim and Julfadli Jali paired up for the first time and, armed with only a day's training, produced a stunning performance to clinch gold in the men's 3-meter springboard synchronized event today. Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games silver medalist Gabriel and Julfadli beat the odds to capture the first gold medal offered in diving by collecting 317.37 points at the National Aquatic Centre in Bukit Jalil. Although they're from the same state, the 20-year-old Gabriel, being a national diver, trains in Bukit Jalil, while Jul Fadli trains with the state team at the Likas Sports Complex swimming pool in Kota Kinabalu. Commenting on the overall performance of the divers at this time, Gabriel said that while many had shown improvement, the parties responsible should also be prepared to assist in the development of the sport by providing relevant facilities. Federal Territories, Nur Qayyum Nazmi Muhammad Nazim Yong Rui Ji had to be contented with silver after notching 308.40 points, while Sarawak Elvis Priestley Clement Zohti Kang 303.84 took home bronze. Now, in another event, the combination of Siti Hadinavila Jumidil and Nazira Hani Iskandar managed to end Sabah's 6-year wait for the women's sepak takraw gold. Siti Hadinavila, 22, Nazira Hani, 16, brushed aside Sarawak's Sharifah Fifi Nur Diana Wan Muhammad Abdurrah and Nur Asmida Ramli, 21-12, 21-13 at Dewan Suri Sarjana Unitan today. Perak's Nur Shahira Hisam, Nur Atira Roslan took home the bronze. For the record, the Sabah women's doubles team only won silver at the 2018 edition in Perak. Meanwhile, the Terengganu pair of Muhammad Aidil Haikal Ghani and Muhammad Khairul Aman Muhammad Rosti captured the men's doubles gold after defeating the Perlis combination of Wan Nur Hanif Rosti, Muhammad Shaharil Aiman Halim 2-1. Jos Muhammad Haikal Huzaimi Abdul Razak, Muhammad Shahmi Shazwan Aziz took home the bronze. Alright, so that ends news at 10. Wrapping up with a reminder of our top story tonight. Government working to bring home job scam victims stranded abroad. Join us for more updates at 12:30 p.m. tomorrow. Till then, I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Stay tuned to saluran Berita RTM. Have a pleasant evening.